Alright. That's a nice way to start the stream off. Hello, hello, hello. How's everybody doing today? As usual, I'm going to be your host, Richie T. Oh, wait. Wasn't I live yesterday? Well, I was in fact live yesterday, but I'm also going to be live again for you guys today. The reasoning for that is Josh just got back into town, you know. He hasn't really gotten to do any business, see any family, so he asked me if I could take a stream over for him today, and I said, Stoneforge Mystic still legal in Modern? He was like, yep, and I'm like, I got plenty of brewing to do. Sign me up. So today I'm going to be bringing you yet another Stoneforge deck. This time not with Teferi. I know it's Teferi week, but I didn't really feel like playing Stoneforge Mystic in a blue style deck this time. I really want to try and see how big its horizons are. And so today we're going to be streaming a deck that I got sent to me in a group chat that looked really sweet. I'm referring to it as Modern Stoned in Taxes because, you know, Stoneblade, Death and Taxes, and I'm also an immature little kid. So let me go over the deck for you guys. We got 22 lands here, starting off with one of each of the white Horizon lands. I assume this is just because you want to play around cards like Pithing Needle or Phyrexian Revoker on your Horizon lands. Sorry about that, I got something in my throat. Then we have 4 Field of Ruin because we don't get to play the Leonin Arbiter package because of Stoneforge. 4 Mutavaults because they can potentially wear swords and Batterskulls pretty well. And then just a bunch of snow-covered plains. Next, we have what I'm going to refer to as the 1-drop slot in the deck. Every good aggressive deck needs a ton of 1-drops. And even though some of these aren't 1-drops, they're here mainly because of 1-drops. Or because they get 1-drops. So we have 4 Aether Vial. Now, everybody in my friend group knows I actively hate the card Aether Vial. It just never feels good to me when in any modern deck. I wasn't really a Merfolk fan, I'm not really a Humans fan, but in Legacy, I actually really enjoy the Death and Taxes style deck. So, I figured, since this is a Death and Taxes style deck as opposed to a creature-based tribal Vial deck, maybe I'll like it a little bit more. If not, well, what's one stream? Then we have 4 Path to Exile as it's the best removal spell in Modern. 4 Giver of Runes as it works really well with cards like Stoneforge Mystic and Thalia because you play a very impactful 1-drop that your opponents have to kill. And if they don't, they're not going to kill your 2-drops. So it just gives us really good protection. And I actually think like Giver Stoneforge is going to be a really solid package in a lot of decks, even if they're not on more of the aggressive side. Then we have 2 Ranger Captain of Eos. Now, I know this guy's not a 1-drop, but the reason I put him in this category is he's here to fetch, like, our Giver of Runes or a couple extra 1-ofs in a Thraben Inspector or a Walking Ballista. Next, we have our traditional Death and Taxes style package in 4 Thalia Guardian of Thraven, and 4 Flicker Wisp. Now, the Thalias are obvious. That's where the taxes side of things come from. The 4 Flicker Wisp are really good answers to a lot of things. A lot of people who play these Death and Taxes style deck often say Flicker Wisp is actually the best card in the deck. It's a 3-mana 3-1 that can wear a sword or a Batterskull pretty well. On top of that, with Aether Vial, you can do so many tricksy things, like blinking a land from your opponent for the turn, blinking a creature for a whole entire turn. So this card has a lot of play to it, and I'm interested to see how it works. Next up, we have our Stoneforge package, which it's free in Modern finally, boys. That's right. We got 4 Stoneforge Mystics in this deck. Really, we're going to be seeing if the Stoneforge package is better than going in on, like, the land denial plan of, like, Ghost Quarters and Leonin Arbiters. So that's what we're going to be testing for the most part. From what I've been seeing, it looks pretty promising that it will be, but I want to find out for myself. Now, to get with our Stoneforge, we have a Batterskull and a Sword of Fire and Ice. Only 2 equipments this time. These are the only really ones we really want. I could potentially see a second Batterskull, but like I said, someone sent me this list, so I kind of wanted to try it card for card first. And then we have really the last package, which is the most interesting one. We have 4 Squadron Hawk and 4 Force of Virtue. So now, Force of Virtue is a pretty awkward card, as it's an Anthem effect, but you don't get to play it on your turn unless you pay the 4 mana. Well, the way to get around that is with Squadron Hawk, you play one of them and fetch up the other 3. You don't inherently really want that many Squadron Hawks, if any, but they're always decent card advantage in white decks. But they actually combo really well with Force of Virtue, because you pitch your 2 mana 1/1 flyer to your Force, and you get a free Anthem on your opponent's turn. So I really like this package, and I've been wanting to give it a try in Modern, and I think Stoneforge might be what gives Death and Taxes the reason to play this package. Next, we're going to be moving on to the sideboard, where we start off with just 3 extra removal spells and On Thin Ice. I think it's the next best removal spell in white, and I think you might actually see people start picking this up over like Oust when they're playing like mono white instead of Death and Tax, or instead of blue white. We have 10 heavy hitter cards on our sideboard, which is a lot actually. 3 Rest in Peace for the graveyard decks. 2 Damping Sphere. This card's just amazing. I can almost see this deck eventually wanting a 3rd. A Burrington Forge Tender, which I could see potentially going up to a 2nd one. We'll see how it feels. A Pithing Needle and 3 Phyrexian Revokers for trying to hit troublesome permanents like Liliana of the Veils. And then just 2 Mirren Crusaders to really just try to get in on our opponent when they're playing green and black cards. So now that's the deck, and I'm really excited to get into a league with it. But beforehand, as per usual, we got to hop over to our sponsor, momsbasementgames.tcgplayerpro.com. I got to tell you guys to check them out. They're the best one-stop shop for anything Magic related you need. Our top sellers are still the same as last night in Field of the Dead, Narset, Skewer the Critics, and Aria the Flames, but those are all pretty good cards in Modern if you need any of them. If you're watching on YouTube in the future, check down in that description box below for all the links I'm going to be talking about. But thank you for also tuning in. And also check out our Twitch live sometimes. We'd super appreciate it. If you're watching live on Twitch right now or on YouTube in the future, thank you. But please try to give us a like on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at MomsBasementMTG. Now, for all you guys watching live on Twitch, once I get done streaming for y'all, you should check out our YouTube channel for the best standard, modern, legacy, vintage, commander, and pauper content. On top of that, I would super appreciate it if you gave me a follow on Twitter. My Twitter is at RichardTMTG. I talk Magic, League of Legends, memes, TFT, anything else you want to talk about, hit me up on Twitter. If you're looking for another form of social media to find Mom's Basement Games and I on, you can find us at Mom's Basement Games on Instagram, or you can find me on Instagram at RichieT2196. Alright, but that's enough shilling. How about we get ourselves into a league and get taxing some deaths? Yeah, so I'm excited to try this. Again, I'm breaking my rule of hating the card Aether Vial, but maybe this will be what makes me enjoy the card again. Always hit our opponent with the GLHF, and we would love to be on the play. So this hand doesn't have a lot of taxing in it, and it does have the Squadron Hawk without the Force of Virtue, but Squadron Hawks are fine on their own, honestly, when you can like equip a sword or something to them. So I think we're going to just go ahead and keep this. And we're going to leave basic Plains pass. Feels bad to not have a 1-drop, but, you know, we have a lot of impactful things along the curve. Swamp pass from our opponent. Interesting. Ooh. I enjoy the Thalia draw. But I think we just want to go ahead and get our Stoneforge down. Alright. And what are we going to tutor up here? I think against Swamp, we're probably going to want some card advantage. So let's get us Fire and Ice. Then pass it back to the opponent. Ooh, it's Living End. This is a deck I think that actually gets pretty good now that people aren't really playing the aren't really bringing in a lot of graveyard hate. Is actually Living End, because I think it's the best. It's either the best or the second best graveyard deck in the format now, in my opinion. I think the only one that might have a little consideration over Living End is Dredge, but we'll have to wait and see. This Fire Knight's pretty awkward now, though, but then again, so are most of our cards. Ooh, did they maybe keep a one-lander? Interesting. Alright, well, I would really like to just get this sword into play, but we can always do that next turn, and I really think we want to try to keep our opponent off their spells. So we're going to go ahead and play Thalia, and then give them the Gits. So next turn what we can do is we can activate Stoneforge. Ooh. Okay, opponent. Well, the bright side now, we're going to be getting that back if they ever kill it. What do we want to do here? I think we definitely want to activate Stoneforge. So we probably want to do something that costs 2 mana. 5, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think we're going to just go ahead and Squadron Hawk here. Just gives us a lot of cards in hand, a lot of chump blockers in the future. I could see merit to just Rangering here, but I really want to get this Fire and Ice into play. Make sure we got all the Hawks clicked. Get in here, Travis. And we're going to pass the turn back to our opponent. Alright, it looks like our opponent's going to pass it back to us. And end of turn, we're going to activate some Stoneforge Mystics. And this card's felt really good in Modern, I'll be honest. Oh, our opponent's missing another land. Oh, we draw the Force of Virtue a turn late. Big sad. Okay, so I think our plan is going to be... Interesting why they didn't cycle on their turn. I think we're going to start by sorting up our Squadron Hawk. And then we're going to cast... Oh! Ranger Captain of Eos stops their combo. Oh, they had the Spirit Guide. Darn. I was going to say Ranger Captain stops them if they didn't have the Spirit Guide. Maybe I should have attacked first. Four, 5, 10. Well, I guess we're not dead. I wasn't really expecting our opponent to have it because of them missing a land drop, but that's why I cast the Ranger, was I had a feeling they might have Spirit Guide. Man, Ranger Captain's actually pretty sweet for this matchup then. I mean, sure, dude. You literally had it all. It's whatever. That's what sideboard's for. Yeah, we have 3 rips, but this is one of those matchups we're kind of light on cards for. And where I could see maybe just wanting like a 4th Rest in Peace even. Let's see. Against them, we can actually Needle and Revoker cycling cards. I think the Squadron Hawk package is probably going to be a little slow here. And I think we just want to try to be more reactive with our opponent. Mirroring Crusader seems pretty good. What else aren't we interested in? I think this Ballista is going to be pretty bad. That maybe like maybe the Revoker Needle is a little too cute. And what for our last cut? I'm kind of leaning towards like a Giver of Runes. Because they're not going to die really other than our opponent living ending. I could see that. Yeah. I think we're going to go ahead and try this. Just try to be a way more disruptive deck, hopefully. I would like to be on the play. And yeah, this hand's perfect. Well, I wouldn't say perfect, but it's pretty good. We'd really like a one-drop creature to put out with our Aether Vial. I would like to use Aether Vials of ability. So that's not bad. That gives us a lot of removal for when they try to Living End. Here comes a Cycler. And another one. Interesting, they still have Street Wraith. Maybe they don't have a lot for their sideboard for this. I feel like the 2 life can actually matter in this matchup. Well, kind of unfortunate that they've had the Shriek Maw every game, but, you know, it be like that some days. We are going to go ahead and tick this up. Okay. Land is honestly kind of awkward here. I think we're just going to go ahead and pass. This seems like a really bad matchup for us. The creature-based decks are what Living End typically is pretty good against, so. Who knows, this might just be the return of Living End now. Alright. End of turn, we're gonna use our Aether Vial to put in a Flicker Wisp. And we're gonna take away their Overgrown Tomb. We will not use this ability. Ooh, that's a good one. So we're going to go to combat, attack for 3. Then we're going to hope they don't have the combo. Ooh, they didn't. That's good for us. So then we're going to stop in our opponent's upkeep and violent another Flicker Wisp, hitting that Overgrown Tomb. And now we're just going to try to give them the gets. How's everybody doing on this fine Friday where Stoneforge Mystic is freed, baby? No more faithless looting, no more Hogak, but we get to Stoneforge people. It's pretty exciting times. Okay, so they're just doing this as a board wipe, which is fine. I kind of played into it, but I didn't expect them to just sweep the board there. I wasn't sure if it'd be worth it to them. Did they pitch a spirit guide to it? Interesting. I wonder why they didn't just use their lands. I'm going to set Vial to always no so it quits asking us. Alright, and Mutavault's going to be another threat for us. Oh yeah, I got to always yield this too. Alright, Mutavault. Time to give him the gets. Get in there, bud. They're gonna cascade into another Living End just to exile our Mutavault. So this is kind of what Living End does when it gets faced with... Oh! Crashing Footfalls. Did not expect the Footfall sideboard. Alright, so we're gonna stop before we go to combat. Or before they can go to blocks, and we're gonna just path both of these rhinos. Get those rhinos out of here. Interesting that they left both Living Ends and rhinos in. Typically, you only have one of each because you want to be pretty consistent. Or you only have one of each. You only have one or the other because you want to be consistent on what you cascade into. But they must have decided that they wanted both in this matchup. There's the Spirit Guide. Didn't I always yes, always yield? Or always no, always yield, I mean. Ooh, baby, there we go. That was weird. Wonder why I did it that way. Get at our opponent. Oh, they suspended a Footfalls. Okay. Did not notice that. That's a rad lad, as the kids say. Alright. So end of turn, we're going to Flicker Wisp that, even though I know it's going to die to Flicker Wisp. Ooh. That's a good one. Give him the gets, Flicker Wisp. Alright. Good job, Sophie. Alright. And we're up a game against... we're 1-1 against Living End where we drew sideboard cards and it mattered. So, do we want to change anything for game 3, chat? What do you guys think? Man, the Sword of Fire and Ice was probably like our best draw possible that turn. Because I don't know if we were getting out of it otherwise. Well, I think we'd get out of it, but we needed like Sword of Fire and Ice and or creature. But Sword of Fire and Ice was definitely the best draw there. It just straight up killed him. I think I'm pretty happy with this, so I think we're just going to hit click submit again. It's possible that the thing with the Squadron Hawk Force of Virtue package is it's a better Game 1 package than it is post-sideboard. Yeah, I mean, I'm not one to mulligan a hand with Thalia in it. Especially in this matchup. Suspend Crashing Footfalls on one. Heck yeah, opponent. I'm going to go ahead and just play a snow-covered plains and pass. Footfalls is super good against us. Just a bunch of 4/4s is pretty good against the white weenie deck. Alright, our opponent's Footfalls is ticking down. 2 more turns. Man, they've had the turn 3 Shriekmaw for a turn 2 Thalia every... Or, not even turn 3. Sometimes it's their turn 2. They've had the Shriekmaw after we play Thalia every turn, and it really makes me sad. Okay. Attack our opponent for 2. And then we'll play Giver. We're going to hold these Flicker Wisps so we can flicker some Rhinos, hopefully. Alright. Let's go ahead and Field of Ruin our opponent's Black Source. I know they have a Swamp, but this makes them get it here. We'll attempt to move to the beginning of combat. We will animate our Mutavault. And then attack with it. Nope, we're just going to get Living Ended. Yeah, I mean, nothing I could have really done with that. I think we're in a fine spot, though. We Flicker Wisp a token, on Thin Ice a token. Then we just eventually have to deal with the Shriekmaw is all. Couple of my friends are talking about this card that lets you steal an equipment someone plays as an answer to Stoneforge Mystic. That's not going to be bad for later. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and start with a Flicker Wisp. I actually think we're going to have to take 4 here. Because we really want to on Thin Ice this Shriekmaw instead. Because we can Flicker Wisp the token and it'll be gone forever. But if we Flicker Wisp the Shriekmaw, it doesn't really work for us. Doesn't quite work out the way we want it to. So just gonna have to use our life total as a little bit of a resource here. Another Shriek Maw from the opponent. Flicker Wisp down. We'll take 4 down to 14. Turn will come back to us. We'll play our Plains. Play our Rest in Peace. If our opponent goes double Spirit Guide, Living End, they'll get us. Then we'll Flicker Wisp away this token. So they do have 5 cards in hand, and we're kind of out of gas, but we have a lot more lands in play. Plus, we have a good sideboard card and a Flickery Boy. So our opponent found their land drop. And they found some rhinos. So that's not really good for us. I will gladly draw all the Flicker Wisps against my opponent's rhinos. Wonder what they have here. Okay, just fetching to get it out of the way. Go to combat, we'll attack for 3. And we'll pass the turn back to our opponent. I'm totally cool just trying to race here. So we're going to go ahead and take 4 this turn. Jeez. That's got to be like their 3rd Shriek Maw, I think, right? Yeah, that's their 3rd Shriek. Or no, it's just the 2nd Shriek Maw. It still feels really bad. There's the 3rd Shriek Maw. Wow. Our opponent's drawn super well against us. A little late there. Alright, hopefully we can draw some creatures here. Our opponents cast 3 Shriek Maws and a living and a Living End against us. Which brought back a Shriek Maw. That's a creature, alright. Ranger Man. Can go ahead and get a Thraben Inspector here. Oh my god. They seriously had another Footfalls? Unreal. I think we're dead now. Yeah, we're dead. Wow. Alright, GG's opponent. Our opponent had both Living Ends and Footfalls in their deck. So if they hit a Living End there, they're just like stone cold gonna be dead. But, you know, our opponent hit the Footfalls, so good for them. I think it's pretty risky to diverse your Cascade spells. Maybe it's like not a huge deal in that situation because in this matchup both are super powerful. But it's nice that you really want to know what you're going to hit when you Cascade, in my opinion. So it is what it is. Living End is a pretty tough matchup for us, I think, and we were actually fighting back pretty hard. And I I think we were probably like a turn away from stabilizing. Because if the Ranger sticks, we put a sword on it. If they ever cascade into footfalls, before they can cast it, we just sack Ranger, and then they just don't get their rhinos. So I think it's pretty likely that we come back if they don't. The rhinos have trample. The rhinos have trample, so it was 6 no matter what. Yeah, no, I thought about it for a second, but I realized that they had trample. Yeah, big F's in chat. And this hand doesn't have an Aether Vial, so we're going to go ahead and mulligan. Alright. Not the best hand in the world, but we can definitely keep it. Go ahead and bottom. Probably just the second Thalia. Yeah, Crashing Footfalls is like super good against us, but I just don't like having the inconsistency. Like, it's exactly like I said. If he were to hit a Living End there, he literally lost the game. Like, I don't think he's coming back if he hits a Living End. So, you know, sometimes you got to risk it for the biscuit, and our opponent got the biscuit that time. Opponent's really in the tank about what to put on bottom from the looks of it. We have a pretty solid hand here. Curves out super nice. Squadron Hawk can recoup some of that card advantage. Alright, and our opponent finally decided what they wanted to put on bottom. So we're going to go ahead and Plains Pass here. Could be anything. I could even be a boat. Blackcleave Cliffs. Are we really facing Living End again? Our opponent passing there, I actually think we're going to be facing Living End again. Let's run out Thalia. Living End was a super popular deck. Oh, maybe it's just Jund with no 1-drops. Living End was pretty popular before, like, a lot stronger graveyard decks took over, like Dredge or Hogak. Even our Arclight Phoenix was the deck that really hurt Living End. Because they just, like, died to a thing in the ice. Attack with Thalia. And then let's get some birdie boys. Caw-caw! Our opponent fetches here. Grabs an Overgrown Tomb tapped also. So definitely some type of Jund deck. Question is, are they Jund or Living End Jund? Jund seems really tough for us with running 6 now. Running 6, kind of the reason why in Legacy you've been seeing these like Death and Taxes style decks kind of fade out. Yep. Because he's just so strong against it. That's kind of one of the things. We're going to really see the power level that Modern Horizons actually had on Modern now. Now that people can't just, you know, jam Hogaks until you die. You're going to really get to see just how strong cards like Renin 6 or Force of Virtue or Ranger Captain of Eos like actually are. And some of those cards were powerful when Hogak was a thing. But you're going to get to see their like full power level now. Alright, Inquisition is fine. Not that big of a deal for us. I'm curious I'm curious as if our opponent is going to choose to kill one of our Squadron Hawks with Run and 6 or just get back a land. I could see merit to either. Hitting your land drops is important in Jund, but also removing our threats are. And sure, Squadron Hawks aren't much on their own, but they eventually add up. And as you see, our opponent does choose to just kill a Hawk. Okay, that's a solid draw. We're going to go to combat, attack our opponent for 2. They fall to 13. Then we'll play another Squadron Hawk. And then cast ourselves a Thalia. Which Thalia brick walls Bloodbraid Elf pretty well. They may also just have another Ren and 6 in hand, but then they have to down ticket on this Thalia, I think. Another Bloodbraid Elf, maybe? Yep, another Bloodbraid. Oh, that was what I was worried about. Oh, that's so good, opponent. That's so good. Oh, wait, never mind. They can't cast it because of Thalia. I'm a genius. So Martyr proc with Stoneforge is actually like a huge thing Lance talked about for a while, where he doesn't like that he probably has to play it, but he probably has to play it was his exact words. And I'm not really sure how good or better it gets with Stoneforge. Notably, I think a lot of Martyr proc's best if they would have just played the land before Bloodbraid Elfing, I would have gotten blown out. That's a feels bad opponent. I feel you on that one. So we're going to go ahead and just field this Nurturing Peatland right away so they can't draw a card off it. But yeah, so Martyr proc is up in the air. We'll see how it we'll see if it ends up becoming a thing again. A lot of its good matchups did leave Modern, unfortunately, though. And go ahead and give our opponent the gets here. Get in with the squad. Hashtag squad goals. Then the reason I'm casting this Flicker Wisp here is it just makes our opponent have to answer something or else they just die. I am putting lethal in play and saying deal with it, opponent. Our opponent chooses to attack. We're definitely not going to block. We could potentially see like a Dead of Winter here. They are playing Snow Basics. A fetch from our opponent. Sure. Still just have lethal in the air. Do you have another removal spell or something? Yep, Liliana. So we're going to go ahead and sack a Squadron Hawk here. Then that kills there. Put them to 2. Alright, I like that. One at Lily. Both of these at our opponent. Fighting back pretty hard here is what we're doing. We're going to go ahead and draw a card. Glad we did that. So essentially now we're going to lock our opponent out of the game by setting a stop on our opponent's upkeep. We're just going to give them less options to draw out. We'll grab Walking Ballista just in case. Then we're going to sack Ranger. I think Ranger Captain is also a card that would like really helped out Martyr Proc. It's just a better Ranger of Eos, even though you don't get as many cards. Its effect is just so powerful. Alright. So even though Ballista seemed alright there, I don't actually really like it against Jund. It's kind of awkward and it grows Tarmogoyf. So we're going to go ahead and board that one out. Rip is okay against Jund, but I'm not super thrilled about it. Maybe we want Rips. I'm here to reconsider Rip, maybe. I don't think Damping Sphere is what we want. Neither do I think we really want Burrington Forge Tender. I like Squadron Hawk for card advantage, but I don't like the card disadvantage of Force. So and then we got 7 more cuts. This is an old thing I used to tell friends and humans to do. And I like it even more now that we have like Stoneforge Mystic. So I think the amount of artifact hate people bring in against us is gonna be higher. I really like boarding out Aether Vial against like Kolaghan's command decks, because it just gives them less avenues to try to blow us out. And then in that case, I think Flicker Wisp probably gets a little bit worse, because they are still a Ren and 6 deck. Uh-oh, my opponent has disconnected. I think we're going to board out the Flicker Wisps and board in the the Burrington Forge Tender, just because it can't get Ren and 6'd. Yeah, I think this is what we're going to go with. What do you guys think of this, chat?
We'll get his fish one again out of the plate there. No.
Hi, stream. Alright. We're going to go ahead and submit this, I think. Yeah, I mean, these one-land hands are just... they're pretty traps, in my opinion. Even though this one is pretty close. I typically don't like to keep one-land hands. These decks have a lot of things to do with their mana. Yeah, and like, see, this hand just looks so much better. We can bottom a field, keep all of our good 2-drops. Actually, no. We're going to bottom a Squadron Hawk, because that's how you combo. You can take the stop off our opponent's upkeep. Fetch from our opponent. I assume we're probably getting like Inquisitioned or Thoughtseized here. Yep. And then choose to take our Squadron Hawks. Just don't want us getting that card advantage. Another Thalia will be good for when our opponent kills it. We'll go ahead and give her and pass. Another Inquisition from our opponent. Yep, really hard Inquisition, opponent. I bet my poker hand's better than yours. They choose to take a Thalia. Our opponent chooses the Shock. Interesting. Ooh, baby. There's our Hawk. Yep. Kind of expected that bolt there. Pass it on back. And there's a big Lurgoyf. Another Thalia, not quite what we wanted here, but we shall make things work. We did board in our On Thin Ices, right? Okay, yeah, I thought so. Really like either an On Thin Ice or a Path to Exile here. Just something to deal with that Tarmogoyf. Goyf always been troublesome for these like smaller white creature decks. They do only have 2 lands, which is notable. Interesting. I wonder why no attacks. Maybe they feel like they're on the back foot. Alright. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and Field of Ruin our opponent. Because I don't think there's much they can do at instant speed. And they typically don't play a mountain. Yeah, they didn't even bother. Did not even bother to field us. Or to float a mana. So now we get our plains. We can play a Thraben Inspector. They do play basic mountain. Interesting. That's not 100% common from Jund. I played a basic mountain years ago when I played Jund, like back during Eldrazi Winter, if that explains how long ago it was. But when I streamed it, I didn't stream the basic mountain. And I don't really think I'd play the basic mountain right now. Although, I could see it. It's for when you play against aggressive decks and you want to get a red source without shocking. But you have to fit a lot of flex lands into your deck now. Alright, we're definitely going to take this hit here. Lightning Bolt or Thalia. Interesting. Alright, still take the hit. Our opponent will never suspect the next Thalia. So we'll Thalia, attack for 2. I think we're still pretty ahead, so not really in the business for blocking right now, so may as well be attacking. Just trying to hurt our opponent's life as much as possible. Opponent goes to combat. Chooses not to attack. Okay. We want to keep our ground and pounders on the defenses. Ooh, that's one of those draws we were looking for. On thin ice. So now we get to remove their Tarmogoyf and get in with everything, which really changes the pace of combat, in my opinion. Considering now we have 4 power to their 0. I would say it does, in fact, change combat. Our opponent pretty stuck on 2 lands. Oh, ooh, their 3rd land comes into play tapped. That's not good for them. Alright, so what we're going to do here is I'm going to Field of Ruin our opponent's Raging Ravine. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is Raging Ravine has a lot of utility, and I almost guarantee they don't play a second mountain. So we're really just trying to strangle them on red mana. Then we'll go ahead and go to combat and attack for 4. Besides that, theoretically, it thins a land out of their deck, so it makes them less likely to draw their 4th land for a card like Bloodbraid Elf, for example. And we did it. We won the match. Alright. So off to a 1-1 start after facing 2 different Jund-colored decks. Actual Factual Jund this past round, and then Living End the round before that. The Jund matchup surprisingly didn't seem that bad, but I think our opponent's draws were kind of clunky, you know. They didn't play that land before casting the Bloodbraid Elf, and they kind of got stuck on 2 lands there in that game. I've noticed we've boarded out this Force of Virtue pack, or the 4 forces every game, even if we leave in Squadron Hawk, so that's something to keep a note. Maybe there's better cards you could play instead of these. Something to just keep in mind. Maybe it's correct to play like a couple Restos, maybe like an Eldrazi Displacer or 2. Because we do have a lot of colorless lands in this deck. Q is taking its sweet time. While we're waiting, always works, as Jim Davis says. Right when you go to shill something, you'll find an opponent. Well, our opponent is on the play. We have an excellent hand here with a couple pairs, but that's totally fine because they're super powerful. and Thalia and Stoneforge Mystic. Scolding Tarn into Stomping Ground, probably Scape Shift. Oh no, it's the Gruul Prowess deck. It's not a bad one. We can go ahead and pitch probably one of these extra Thalias here, I think. Because we're going to want all of our equipment. Alright, so we're gonna cast our first Force of Virtue on stream. And then we're gonna follow it up with I think we're gonna go ahead and just cast the Stoneforge Mystic. No matter what, it's pretty likely to just get lightning bolted. And this way we can go ahead and just grab ourselves a good card. I think we're going to grab the Batterskull first. Stoneforge Mystic seems really good against this deck. Yep. Eats a lightning bolt as we kind of expected. And then we eat a lava spike. And then 3 damage. Okay. Vial's not bad. Helps us fill out our curve here. So we can cast Vial. And then cast... Let's go ahead and go with another Stoneforge, because I really want to get this Batterskull into play. We'll grab a Sophie. Wait, I gotta take a Sophie. How's everyone in chat doing on this fine Friday? While our opponent thinks about their turn, I'm going to hop over and tell you guys about our giveaway that we're doing right now this month. We're giving away one of each of the new Commander decks. And the way that you can earn those is by, if you give us a follow on Twitch, you can earn an automatic free entry into it. And then if you would like to earn extra entries, you can either subscribe to our Twitch or donate to our Patreon to earn up to 3 extra entries. Our opponent tanked there, but they did just have the lightning bolt, so that's fine. We'll play the Thalia out next turn. And another lava spike from our opponent. So they're getting us. We're going to be at 6. That's kind of what this deck does, and I had a feeling this deck was still going to be playable in some form. I have a list I've actually been brewing. I don't know, my list doesn't involve actual green lands, but I could see the Ren and 6 version being decent. Okay. I think I like Thalia with Mutavault more. Or even just holding up Path with Thalia. See what our opponent has going on. This might be them trying to cast a Ren and 6, but then realizing that they can't because of Thalia. Or potentially a Manamorphose. Dreadhorde Arcanist. Well, that's going to be a really good one to pass. Seems like they've gone kind of mid-rangey almost. With this new iteration. We're going to definitely go ahead and take up Aether Vial. Alright, I think what we're going to do here is we're going to play this. We're going to just field their Stomping Ground. Grab ourselves a Snow Basic. Do we attack? I think so. No. We'll leave it back. I'd rather get to draw a card off this silent clearing. This is a pretty close match, honestly. Our opponent's deck seems really interesting. Crash through. You got it, opponent. This smells like our opponent has something. So if we animate Mutavault double block. I don't think there's any way that they can kill both of our creatures. With Thalia in play especially. We kind of get got if they have like a gut shot, but not really a whole lot we can do about that. We don't really get got. They just get to kill one of our things. And it actually has to... Oh, mutagenic. That's what blows us out. Well, I guess it doesn't really blow us out. It just turns this into a trade. Dang, that would have been... it actually isn't that good. Alright, we're going to take up Aether Vial one more time and get rewarded. And we're going to go ahead and play the Sword of Fire and Ice. Put a stop on our opponent's upkeep. Actually, no, we're not. We don't super care about our opponent's mana. We care about if they play like a hasty creature. Like that. Yep, we take the Lava Spike. And then we will activate our Pokeball. Oh, that was bad. I was thinking Flicker Wisp was going to be able to eat the... that was really bad. My fault, chat. I should have just blinked the Swift Spear. But I was thinking that... we were going to... I was thinking that we were going to get to eat the Swift Spear. I just can't count. Oh, no. Oh. Forgot about drawing a card off Sophie. Oh, and it would have mattered. Dang it. My bad, chat. Again, I'm new to this deck. I just had in my brain that I could F6 for some reason. I don't know why. Notably, this is actually a good Force of Virtue matchup, as it gets a lot of our guys out of gut shot range. I don't think Rest in Peace is going to be super important anymore. None of these effects seem super great. And we have like 4 more cuts to try to consider. I'm kind of thinking we cut Flicker Wisp. It dies the Gut Shot, and it just seems like our weakest card at this point. Yeah. Although I could see Vile. Maybe we'll just trim a Vile. Because they are in a Braid deck. No, I think Vile is going to be better. What do you think of this, chat? 4 against Mono Red. Just kind of bring in a bunch of removal spells. Couple things that are going to stick a little bit harder. Like the Burrington Forge Tender. And the On Thin Ices. This card's been pretty good, honestly. I've really enjoyed just having the extra unconditional removal spell. This hand's really good. Man, if I would have just played that Thalia, it probably wouldn't have died. Or it would have been a lot less unlikely. My bad, chat. I'll try to play a little better, hopefully. This deck seems pretty good so far, though. Alright, so we're going to tick up our Aether Vial. And we're going to go ahead and get the Hawks in. Caw. Probably just getting, like, lightning bolted here is my guess. No. Interesting. No 1-mana play from our opponent. We will assemble the Legion. Yep, that's a Dreadhorde Arcanist. Then we're going to Vial in our Thraben Inspector. Get a clue. Then we're going to run this Vial up to 2. Because, here's a secret. We're going to put in a Squadron Hawk. Caw. Okay. Path, not a bad draw. I think we just want to go ahead and get this Sophie down, honestly. Then we're just going to go ahead and not attack. He knows we have the Squadron Hawks, so unless he has like a removal spell or something, he realistically can't attack with this Dreadhorde Arcanist. Interesting thing about the Renin 6 version of this Prowess deck, by the way. Renin 6 is a little weaker because you don't have Faithless Looting, but does still give you a lot of late game with like Fiery Islets. This is fine. We'll just chump block. Oh, this has Trample. I always forget about that. I've played this card a bunch in Legacy even. But I always forget that it has Trample. Oh yeah, we'll just go ahead and take the 5 then. I'm guessing our opponent's going to light up the stage next. Yep. Ooh, that's not good for us. I really wanted my sword opponent. Maybe we were supposed to hold up path there instead of just putting the sword in. But the sword just seems so good if we get to do anything with it. Alright, so here we're not going to take up Vial, because we know we have 2 drops to put in with it. I'm going to just make our opponent a Braid here. Yep. Get in with the squad here. Because our next turn is going to be just pathing this Dreadhorde. Maybe not. We'll see what our opponent does. Bolt us, they say. Light it up. Oh, it's the Become Immense deck. That makes sense. I kind of thought it was, but I wasn't gonna, like, 100% bet on it. Let's see if they do anything. Yep. Now, if they go ahead and Lightning Bolt us, we kind of get punished. But because they went for the Become Immense, we actually get to get them here. Bam. Get that thing out of here. Put a Hawk in. We're going to still leave Violet, too. Ooh, another path is good. We're going to start by cracking a clue. Give her solid. Go to combat. Swing with squad. It's been a pretty good game. Roast our giver, sure. Alright. Seems good for us. Alright. Back to us. Soul Scrummage. That's fine. So end of turn, we're going to activate... Oh, I should have cracked this in response in case we get draw something better to put in instead of Squadron Hawk. Yeah. Granted, it wasn't for sure we were going to draw that, but that's just still the correct play. Reason we take up here is sure we have Thalia, but we can actually just cast Thalia and then still hold up Path. This is me trying to bait them into casting a spell. That's the reason why I attacked like that. Because if I can get them to, like, mutagenic growth, I can just path it. Alright, opponent. The birds are coming for you. Alright, and we're going to game 3 against the what looks like Gruul Prowess. I think I'm pretty happy with how I sideboarded this game. I could maybe see wanting the rest in pieces now that we've seen Become Immense alongside the Dreadhorde Arcanist. What do you guys think is better, chat? The Aether Vials or the rest in pieces? Like, I could see bringing in 3 Rips or potentially a Flicker Wisp over the vials. Put that thing back where it came from, or so help me, so help me. I know I like all of our creatures we have here. It's just more if we want to bring in more things to deal with Dreadhorde to deal with Dreadhorde Arcanist. Sorry about that. Really like the forces against the gut shot decks. We are on the draw, and I think Vial might be kind of slow. How do we feel about this, chat? Do you prefer this over having Vial on the draw against Gruul Prowess? I think I prefer this. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and try this for game 3. It might be incorrect, but I don't think it is. Our opponent's deciding if they want to be on La Play or La Draw. And they realize, why am I even thinking about this? I obviously want to be on the play. This hand's actually really good. So we get to do the combo of Squadron Hawk Force on 2 if we don't have to rest in peace. And we have a path for turn 1. So we're definitely going to keep this hand. It is kind of painful that our only white source in it is Sunbaked Canyon, but we'll make it work. Sunbaked Pass. This is kind of awkward. If we Squadron Hawk, we actually have to discard to hand size. So it's kind of not gaining us card advantage. I think we'll just start with a Thalia. And then decide from there. Okay. Not really much we could have done about that, so. Thank you, Mad Bonzo. Glad I made the right play. The Pyromancer is getting seasoned. Call our opponent Bobby Flay. That one's not terrible. I think I like that with force. As opposed to casting this rest in peace here. They have to have another lightning bolt in order to be able to kill it, really. And if it lives, we get to just put a batter skull into play, which is pretty good. Our mana base kind of biting us here, although I'm not sure that it really should be. Man, our opponent did have the other lightning bolt. Kind of unfortunate. I guess they did draw 2 cards off Season Pyro, though. They thwomp us for 4 here. Light it up into another lightning bolt and a roast. Really want a white source here, deck. That is not a white source. Man, our draws have not lined up the best this game. I think... Man, this is a tough spot. We've really just needed like an extra white source this game. And having all these colorless lands have really hurt us. I think we might have like one too many. We could get our a second white source, but we really just need a 4th land that's white. But if we field, we just need any white land, or any land. Yeah. I think we're going to go with the Field of Ruin play. Oh, this gets really punished by this, actually. That was really bad. I should have hit a not Fiery Islet land. Now we don't get the path. Yeah, that was awful. I should have just hit the Copperline Gorge. But I didn't think that they would actually like go for the fetch play. Man, we're just behind everywhere this game. Our mana base kind of like punished us really bad this game, honestly. Yeah. Kind of an unfortunate game. I think if we fielded properly, we might have been in a better spot, but I also think that's going to be a really tough matchup for us between like Lava Dart and Gut Shots, for example. And also just like a pile of lightning bolts. So. Oh, well. This deck's felt fine. The person who sent it to me told me that the person who they watched play it 10-0'd. But I don't really know that it's a 10-0 deck, honestly. And maybe I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong. But Deck definitely has some flaws in my opinion, although this hand is great. We can force Virtue pitching any of these 3 cards, depending on what we think is the weakest. Probably Path to Exile. Our opponent mulligans down to 6. Mulligans to 5. Ooh. So they're either playing a combo deck or very unlucky. One of the two. Anyway, I think it's pretty unlikely that we force pitching Thalia. Alright, we're just going to go Plains Thraben Inspector pass. We're not even like 100% to force a Virtue, but it's pretty likely. Yeah. We don't super care about this path against blue-white. Of course, that's our next draw. Let's go ahead. Go ahead and go with the Thalia because it's the more important card. We want to get it down while our opponent's tapped out. And then next turn we can just Stoneforge. They too will Stoneforge. Wonder if they're going to go for the same equipment as us. Yep. We actually might go for a sword. Sword or Batter Skull here? The more I think about it, the more I actually think it's going to be Sword. The reasoning for this is if we hit a land, we can just sword up one of our creatures and then they can't really do much with the Batter Skull. Okay, we didn't draw a land, but that's fine. We can still just put the sword in and do the same play next turn. Just means we're going to take a hit for 4, which is kind of unfortunate. Actually, we should have taken Batter Skull. Our Batter Skull is bigger than theirs because of Force of Virtue. Interesting. That's a really interesting line. Okay, oust our Thalia. Put in the sword. And alright, we're gonna grab our stone, play our other Stoneforge, and grab our Batter Skull. Ooh. Guess we won't be grabbing Batter Skull. That's fine. We're just gonna equip our Thraben Inspector with a sword. And attack. We're going to kill the Stoneforge here. Because next turn we can just equip our other Stoneforge. Yep, we'll take 4 here. Ooh. We're going to go ahead and try to play our Thalia. Hopefully we don't get, like, Cryptic here. This feels like a Cryptic. Opponent appears to be in the think tank pretty hard. Yep. Oh, that's actually pretty good by our opponent. Go ahead and Hawk up here. Then we'll pass it back to our opponent. Go ahead and take 4. Then we'll force pitching a Squadron Hawk. And they will force back. I feel like we're probably getting Path too.
You. I don't care. There's nobody out here. Just come talk to me 1 second. I've got one on my finger and everything.
We're going to equip a sword to Stoneforge, or to Squadron Hawk. Attack. And poke. Okay. Play Thalia and pass. Yeah, I'm super sorry for the background, guys. I'll have to look into things, maybe soundproofing my room. We are currently 1 and 2 with the deck, and I'm doing pretty well. Just playing some Magic before I go to F&M for Josh. I'm interested to see how this deck keeps performing in this last game or so. Alright, so we're going to attack for 3. Ping our opponent. Another Thalia, not quite what we were looking for here. Yeah, I'm going to Pando. I'm not 100% sure what I'm going to play, actually. I'm torn between either Twiddlestorm, Vanifar Pod, Mono Red Prowess, or Tron. I really can't make up my mind what I want to play today. It's going to be pretty tough to beat a Batterskull with the Sword of Feast and Famine on it. But we will try our best. Yeah, I have a decent chunk of Modern that I just, like, carry around in my backpack. I have, like, most of the stuff for, like, any non-Stoneforge deck also. I was gonna say, I know you feel it, so. Alright. So we're gonna attempt to force here. Pitching this Squadron Hawk. Awesome. And we're gonna attempt to move to blocks. We're not gonna block with the Thalia, because I actually, like, really want the Thalia. It might have been correct to just triple block, though. Yeah. This is unfortunate, but... Yeah, I have the Batterskull. if that means anything. Man, not quite what we were looking for here, unfortunately. Alright. We're going to start with an attack for 4. We're kind of offsetting it. Ooh, that's a good one. So 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. This, and then we have 4, 5. So we're going to start by fielding their Colonnade. Okay, they didn't float mana. So I'm actually just going to go with the second field play. And then we'll play the Flicker Wisp and Blink the Germ. Alright. We might have been able to turn this around. The reason why I went for the second field instead of the Vial there is the reason why I wanted a double field, but I didn't want to give them mana for a counterspell. So when they didn't float mana, I knew they didn't have a counterspell. I'm personally pretty glad JIT isn't legal in Modern with Stoneforge. But maybe that's just me. We're going to go into combat. Get in with the squad. Squad hits. Sophie pings. We draw another Thalia. We crack this Horizon land. Giver's not bad. Reasoning I'm playing this Giver out, I feel like it gives us a lot of outs. And we have these Thalias in hand, so we have plenty of ways to kill our opponent through a board wipe. So now we're going to deal with a click with a batter skull on it, is what I assume. Yeah, just like a blue-white Stoneblade deck. Might even be just blue-white control because they are playing Cryptics. You mentioned you don't have a Feast and Famine, which is huge. I actually think if you're going to play like a blue-based deck with like Jaces and like Cryptic commands or really like a decent amount of card advantage, I think Feast and Famine is actually the sword to play over Fire and Ice. Because untapping your... Were they dead? I don't actually know that they were dead there. Alright. So how do we want to sideboard against blue-white? I don't like Force. I like Squadron Hawk, though. Rip doesn't seem great. Damping Sphere doesn't really seem like what we want. I kind of like Violent Revoker in case they have creatures. Burrington doesn't seem like he does a lot. So we have 3 more cuts now. What do we think they should be? What do you think, chat? I think we want... Oh, sweet. Thanks for the resub, Nate. Super appreciate it, man. I'm thinking maybe we just don't want the Needle and Revokers. Like, they seem fine, but we might be naming Stoneforge a lot, which I really don't want to do if I don't have to. And I think the rest of our cards are probably just more powerful. I think Revoker is actually better at stopping Stoneforge than Ballista. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Yeah, I haven't piloted Stoneforges too much before. What do you think, chat? Double Vial is kind of awkward. But, like, we have Stoneforge, we have On Thin Ice. We have a Manland and Mutavault. I'm pretty on the fence about this one. What do you think, chat? Yeah. I think it's one of those mulliganing again. I don't think our hand gets much better if we put a card on the bottom from like this. So, all right, we're going to go ahead and go Mutavault into Aether Vial. And ship it back. Disenchant for our Aether Vial, alright. Kind of rude opponent, but means our Stoneforge sticks. We're going to go ahead and get a Sophie here. Sophie just seems so good in this matchup. Academy Ruins, that's some spicy tech for your Stoneforge decks. Keep that one in mind, kids. Baby tough do 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 do, baby tough do 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 do, baby tough do 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 do, baby tough. I think here we're just gonna Stoneforge Vial again. Maybe we didn't want all of the On Thin Ices against our opponent. That's also a consideration. Maybe 7 pieces spot removal is too much in this matchup. Maybe we only wanted like 6, and we wanted this extra Revoker in our deck. You know what they say about Jace the Mind Sculptor, chat? That he's better than all. I would like to take Vial up. Fire and Ice is kind of removal, yeah. I've been working on the railroad to try to not lose today. I think we're gonna fire up 2 Mutavaults and kill a Jace. I'm not 100% sure, but this feels like the right play. Hey. Yeah, I think if we go to a game 3, we'll definitely go to a game 3. We won game 1. Well, I guess if still. If we go to a game 3, we'll board out an On Thin Ice. Interesting time to shock for our opponent. I would still like to tick it up. So we save 2. We can animate. I think I just want to field and then Revoker here. A field, Revoke. No, I don't actually have enough mana for that. We'll start with a Revoker. How about that? How about that? We'll get Spell Snared. How about that? And we're just going to go ahead and pass, I think, with the plans to put Batter Skull on end of turn. That could be. I do have a Violon too. You are correct. Look, I don't play with the card Aether Vial a lot because I hate it. Leave me alone. So the correct play would have been field gets an untapped white source. Yeah, it wouldn't have changed much, I don't think. We would have had a Revoker in play. That's about what it would have changed. Which is a big deal, don't get me wrong. No, I've actually won games, thank you. I'm definitely not on the Lions special. Alright. So here we're going to click a bunch, apparently. And then put a Batter Skull into play. Yeah, but preseason only matters for so much. Slow to colorless. Grab a snow-covered plains. Ah, the old 0-18 jokes. They never get old. Wonder what our opponent's thinking about here. Snap Opt here, really digging for a path. Oh, Snap Disenchant. Sure, that's fine. Okay, so I think we're going to go ahead and hit with our Sophie here. And then kill the Snapcaster. Hey, I was actually one round away from making day 2 of the Pro Tour, Nate. But I forget, how'd you do at the Pro Tour? Alright, so we're in an alright spot here. We would definitely be... What are they bouncing? They're bouncing nothing? Interesting choice, opponent. I would have figured that they would have either bounced the Sword or the Aether Vial, at least. Well, our opponent gave us things to cast our on Thin Ice on. There's a Feast and Famine from them. And they only have one card in hand, so I actually don't mind just, like, blowing all of these on Thin Ices. Always know, always yield. Oh. What? Why did it... I definitely clicked 1, not 2. Well, that might lose us this game, I guess. Thanks, Moto. So our opponent shouldn't be able to chump block here, but because Moto apparently decided to skip through my main phase. You know, just Moto things. Now we're probably going to lose this fucking game. I mean, we gotta kill all the tokens, I guess. So this Teferi should be off the battlefield. And our opponent should be at 18. But for who knows what reason, it just skipped through our main phase. I'm sure it had something to do with me, like, always yesing, always yielding vile, but then it still had the thing to click OK. So I pushed 1, and then it skipped through it, I guess. I'm not really sure. I think we're still in a fine spot. We get to draw a card off this Sunbaked Canyon. Then we get to attack our opponent with Sophie and attack the Teferi with Mutavault. Just hopefully they didn't draw something to kill our Sword of Fire and Ice. Or our Stoneforge Mystic now. Oh, they get to... Wait, no they don't. This is just stopping us from drawing a card, I assume. Well, that's good. That means we're definitely going to get to hit, so... Now it doesn't always yes, always yield that. Moto, you're an interesting device. Attack Teferi, attack our opponent. Ping. Thalia, pass. Yep. Alright, they're empty-handed, so... Give it away, give it away, give it away now. No. No. Animate this. Equip a sword here. Go to combat. Attack for a bunch. Ping. Draw a path. Pass the turn. We'll path the colonnade. Alright, and we managed to win this one, even through Moto randomly skipping my main phase. So, we're 2-2 going on to round number 3. Or not round number 3, going on to round 5, 2-2. Hopefully we'll end up making our money back. Opponent's asking about if Stoneforge Mystic is playable. Just a little banter between me and my opponent. Alright, and we're off to see if we can win our money back with this deck. Yeah, that's kind of one of the things you, when you're really experimenting a lot, you never know how your games are going to go. And so far this deck feels pretty good. I think it probably has an atrocious Living End matchup. I could maybe see playing something like Chalice of the Void, but then you have to put Caverns in your deck. So I'm not really sure what all you could do for this matchup. Or for that matchup. Maybe just a little extra graveyard hate. This hand's alright. We have the combo in it of Squadron Hawk with Force. And we have a turn 1 play, so we're going to keep and see how it works out. Against Violent Out... Oh, they're going to be a Living End deck, I assume. Maybe not with Mishra's Bauble. Looks like they switched from Living End to like a Death Shadow deck, maybe? That's what it's looking like, is like Mardu Death Shadow. Probably takes our Squadron Hawk here, I assume. Could take our Thraben Inspector to take our turn 1 play, though, also. Which is what they do. Alright. We're going to just go Plains Pass. Our opponent baubles. Grabbing my stone blade list for a friend. He was asking me for it. Opponent takes our Squadron Hawk this time, leaving us with not much and kind of drawing a lot of lands. Our opponent did keep a one-lander though, so we shall see. Really kind of punished for not leading on Mutavault here, oddly enough. There's the Blood Crypt. And a Death Shadow. Boy, howdy, this game feels lost already. Okay. But with the power of Stoneforge, maybe we can get out of it. Let's grab Batter Skull, I suppose. We really want to sort it somewhere in the 75 that gives protection from black. Maybe not in the main, but sideboard. Yeah, this matchup also just seems really rough for us, though. It's another one of the matchups that I'm not really sure the Force package is actually that good. Well, we can go ahead and crack this. Try to draw something good. Instead, we're gonna draw more lands. So, back to you, opponent. Opponent cycles a Street Wraith. Cracks their land. Yep. We'll just take 6 here. Okay. It's not a bad one. Grab a Sophie and pass. We can go ahead and put Sophie into play at the end of our opponent, or during our opponent's turn, whenever. Opponent fetches end of turn. I think we definitely have to block here. Oh, well, we have to block because it's lethal, so. Matchup does not seem very good for us, that's for sure. Go ahead and block. Cycles and unearth. And then end of turn, we're going to put Sophie into play. Equip Sophie. Go into combat. So the reason I'm attacking here is either my opponent blocks or we get to shoot this down. And we do have a blocker for next turn. We're pretty dead to TBR any way you look at it, so not really playing around that card. Interesting. That smells like they have the Teamer Battle Rage to me. But again, like, I just have to play and hope they don't. Okay, maybe they don't. Maybe we stole this game. I think that Hex Parasite was really aggressive. Really don't think there's many reasons for them to just take 2 damage there. Had to stretch. Opponent's really trying to figure out what they need to do here. Or they're kind of salting off, one of the two. Not really sure which. So I think the play is try to get them off black mana. Although I'm pretty sure they play a basic swamp. We're just going to go for it here. Darn it. Was not expecting Path, but was really hoping that they just wouldn't have anything. I don't really think we can afford to sit back too much is the thing, too. Alright, animate Mutavault. We're dead to a lot of things anyways, so... Yeah, I mean... Kind of unfortunate. They had all their bases covered. But... Really upsetting that they kind of slow-rolled there, but I mean... People do that some days. Yet another matchup. I'm really not happy with the Force of Virtue package, but I'm kind of in for Squadron Hawk, oddly enough. Rip isn't great here. None of these effects are good. On Thin Ice seems good. They're pretty creature light. Yeah, I don't think we really want Rip. And then we have 2 more cuts. Ballista's typically not going to be very good. Hold on, I'm going to let my fan rotate. I was wondering why it was starting to get a little warm in my room. And then what's the last card we take out? I think it's probably an Aether Vial because they are an artifact destruction deck. I actually think we might want Rips over Aether Vials. I'm just not big on getting my Aether Vials blown up. I was actually like thinking I might play a couple Chalices in the sideboard, honestly. The Living End matchup seems pretty rough, and I think it would also help out here. I'm not... They might fit main. I really don't like this Force of Virtue package. This package just seems kind of meh to me. We're going to go ahead and try this, I think. I really want to talk to my friend Tom. He's the guy that like plays a lot of the mono white Eldrazi deck. So I'm really interested to see if or how he fits Stoneforge into the deck. This hand's just unkeepable. But I do think Stoneforge Mystic in a Death and Taxes style deck is something to look out for. We're actually going to put the Thalia back. I think she's our weakest card in our hand right now. Maybe it was the Rest in Peace. I think it was actually the Rest in Peace now that I'm thinking about it more. Yeah, I think it was supposed to be the Rest in Peace. I think Thalia is just a better card than Rip in this matchup most of the time. Yeah, I think a mono white variant of some form of taxes is the way to go. I don't know if it's the mono-white Eldrazian taxes or just mono-white taxes. That's what I really don't know, and I think needs to get played around with. Like I said, I'd really like to message my... I can try to do it before F&M if you're going to be there. I can try to see what his list is. Because, again, I'm not 100% sure what list would be better. Opponent fetches. Opponent cycles a Street Wraith. Yeah, I just asked Tom, so I'll let you know. Joke's on you, can't Inquisition a Batterskull. Joke's on me, you can Thoughtseize a Batterskull. Emrakul Twiddle will have to wait. You just really want to put that Emrakul to good use, don't you? Alright, let's see if we can come back from 5 cards in hand to 1. We will have an extra one after this, though. Opponent fetches. Wonder if we're going to see some Death Shadow action now. Ranger Man. Go and grab a Death Shadow. That's not a bad one. Okay. Let's just play Mirran Crusader. Mirran's not as good against this opponent as it is against a lot of other decks that you bring it in against. Because this deck does play Path and Lightning Bolt sometimes. I want to blow up 6 things, then kill them. We can just take this hit for 3. Yikes. Alright, well. We're going to cast Rest in Peace. Then we're going to attack through our opponent's Death Shadows. And then our plan is hopefully we can path the Death Shadow the Temur Battle Rage. I'm pathing the Ranger here because I just want to get it off the battlefield. Because at this point, they're just dead if they don't have some way to... They literally have to have land TBR. Alright. And we're going to game 3. That was a close one. Do we want to change how we sideboard it at all, being on the draw? I don't really think so. I think I'm pretty happy with this this submission. I'm calling it Tentacle Supreme Surprise. Odd flex, but okay. Yeah, I don't know about the forces. Like, the forces and the Hawks, I think, should probably just be, like, inherently better cards. Although the Hawks are pretty nice to, like, recuperate some card advantage. So maybe Hawk is fine in this. And, like, maybe you just have to play Force because, like, Force works so well with Hawk. But +1/+1 just hasn't seemed super relevant to me. I would like to see, like, maybe some chalice. Maybe, like, you just go whole hog and put, like, 4 Spirit Guides, 4 Chalices in this deck. You can attempt to turn 1 Stoneforge that way. The other like pseudo Death and Taxes style deck that I think might be worth testing with Stoneforge is Jim Davis's Loxobots. I'm not sure if Stoneforge is better than Leonin Arbiter for that deck, but I think it's another one worth considering if Stoneforge does turn out to be better than Leonin Arbiter in it. I think there is a home for Stone. I think, like, there is a white-based Taxes style deck with that Stoneforge fits in better than Leonin Arbiter. I think it's just finding that home. Alright, we're going to go ahead and try it like this. Okay. Yeah, this hand plays. Some decent removal, some decent threats. Our lands have a lot of utility packed in them. Our opponent starts off with a Mishra's Bauble. Sure thing. Baubles and then decides to fetch, so must not like their card. Cycles a Street Wraith. Plays another Bauble. Alright, so their hand can be literally anything. Not really wanting to draw a sword here, but, you know, we'll make it work. Might be a decent play for turn 3. So this is one of those unfortunate ones where we have to let it resolve, because otherwise they get to take the card forever. It works very similarly to, like, Thought Not Seer. Man, Moto's really working the PC today. So they value the land more than the tempo of making me cast a spell on my turn. I don't think we can really afford to, you know, not do it, but that is notable. Okay, and here... I think we just want to go ahead and Thalia. We have a lot of high impact cards in our hands. So if they want to take the Squadron Hawk, that's totally fine. And I think that's kind of what, well, they don't actually know that, but I think that's what they're thinking about. I guess they do know we have the sword in hand. Opponent's back in the think tank. And they decide to shock. Ranger Man. Grabs a Death Shadow, no surprise there. And they play it. Alright, so here... I think we're going to just start with a Mirroring Crusader. And then pass it back. What's everyone's plan after this last game of Modern? Do you guys plan to go to F&M, maybe get some food, hang out with some friends? What's everybody's plan? Inquisition from our opponent. Okay. Kind of punishing us for Mirroring Crusader, but I mean, Mirroring is a pretty good card, especially if we get to equip a sword to him. There's the big fish. Okay. So yeah, I think our play is just going to be to take 2 and get this sword into play. And then pass it back. Next turn we can go ahead and equip sword and attack, and they have to block with the ranger because otherwise they're dead. Even though our opponent is does have a lot of non-black removal spells, Mirroring Crusader is still doing work in this matchup against Violent Outburst. Opponent's really in the tank about this play. I find it funny, every single time my opponent tanks, they literally have the best possible play. So why are they tanking so hard? Like, one time it was literally tank, TBR kill you. This time it was tank, path the best card in, or path the best card you have in play. Like, I just don't get why people tank when the play's pretty obvious, in my opinion at least. Alright, think we just go ahead and rally in the Hawks here. And I'm not referring to Travis. Alright, go ahead, opponent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's only 7. They're just gonna Teamer Battle Rage us here, guaranteed. Opponent just tanking for the sake to tank, it seems like. I assume we're just dead here, but I guess we play like hopefully we're not. Show me the Teamer Battle Rage. It's the only card that makes sense. Yep. So opponent just, you know, took forever on their decisions that literally were the easiest plays I've ever seen in my life. But, you know, some people like to do that. Thoughts on this deck? I think this deck's fine. I don't know if it's the correct build or if... I don't know if Squadron Hawk Force of Virtue is really where you want to be in Modern. It just doesn't feel very powerful compared to other things happening, even though the format has slowed down. Like, +1/+1 for 2 cards really isn't worth it. I would rather just have the card advantage. And, like, it's even possible that these forces should be something else, and these Squadron Hawks are honestly fine. But I could also just see, like, 4 Spirit Guide, 4 Chalice of the Void. Just, like, try to make your deck as powerful as possible. In one of the games, it was kind of awkward having so many colorless lands. So I think I would make a Mutavault probably an extra planes. And other than that, I think the main deck's fine. It's still just not a big Aether Vial fan in Modern, honestly. Like, I don't know. I really enjoy the card in Legacy. But the card just never feels... It never feels like I want to take the first turn off to just play a Vial, I think is like my thing. As for the sideboard of this deck, everything felt okay. Maybe we have a few too many Revoker effects. So like maybe a Phyrexian Revoker becomes like a Damping Sphere or like a Rest in Peace style. Or maybe even a Burrington Forge Tender. But yeah, I don't really know where to go with this deck. It was weird. But with all that being said, I am going to be hopping off here after that. So as usual, though, at the end of our stream, I want to hop over to momsbasementgames.tcgplayerpro.com and tell you guys to make sure you buy all your singles from here. It's a great place, and honestly, just probably the lowest prices you'll find. If you're looking for Field of the Deads, Narset, Skewer the Critics, or Aria of the Flames, we definitely have those as our top selling products. If you're watching on YouTube in the future, check down that description box below for all the links that I'm going to be talking about. But try to tune in live sometime for Twitch. We would all super appreciate and love interacting with you. For everyone still watching live on Twitch or watching on YouTube in the future, thank you. Please try to check out our Facebook page and give us a like. And also follow us on Twitter at momsbasementmtg. As well as all you guys watching live on Twitch right now, check out our YouTube channel at some point for the best standard, modern, legacy, vintage, commander, and pauper content. On top of that, I would super appreciate it if you gave me a follow on Twitter. My Twitter is @RichardTMTG. I talk Magic, League of Legends, memes, anything else you really want to talk about. Hit me up, and I love to talk. So, on top of that, if you're looking for any other forms of social media to find Mom's Basement Games and I on, you can find Mom's Basement Games on Instagram @Mom's Basement Games, or you can find me on Instagram @RichieT2196. But with that, I'm going to be signing off and getting ready to probably eat some food before going to F&M. So I hope everyone has a wonderful Friday.